Hey, Fable listeners, welcome back. So glad to share some space with you today. Today's episode is 107, so thanks for being around, whether you're new, been around for a while. It's absolutely fabulous to have you here. Today's episode, I want to dive in a little bit to fear. And fear is a choice. You can either let it control you, stop you, keep you playing small, or you can face it, rise above it, and use it as fuel to grow. This episode is about what fear really is, why it shows up, and how to move through it so you can step fully in your potential. This is episode 107, Fear. Will you forget everything and run, or face everything and rise? So as I mentioned, fear is something that regardless of your economic status or your influence, or just really who you are and what you do, fear is something that we all confront. Fear is something that we deal with at one time or another. And some of us really have fears and anxiety. But fear can also be a motivator. Not always do we need to be scared of fear, and not always do we have to face it head on. But I do believe that if you just forget it and run, you'll never accomplish even the smallest thing that you want to accomplish. And if you face it and face everything about it and rise up, the impact that you will make to yourself, to your community, and just being here and facing it. What a gift that you will give, what a gift you will share, and what a gift it will be to embrace what you're fully capable of. So it is universal, but it's how we respond to it that defines our future. Will you let it control will you let it control you? Will you let it keep you stuck in hesitation and doubt and avoidance? Or will you rise above it and face it head on, and use it to fuel you to that next level? I'm going to break it down a couple ways in this episode. The two choices we have when fears show up is to run or rise. And I do see it as two choices. I know sometimes when I'm out speaking on stages and with small groups, I'll get a question about fear. And there are people in attendance that believe you can survive doing both. And yes, you can survive doing both. And mediocre, maybe. And I'm not about being perfect here. You all know that. We're about progress over perfection. But I also believe that if you don't do anything or face it, it's just going to hold you back. It's going to be nagging at you. So let's really think about it being two choices, to run or to rise. Then we're going to talk about how fear tricks your brain into holding you back and how you need to learn to override that. Then I'm going to give you 3 ways to transform fear into momentum, into confidence. So imagine this, like you're sitting or you're standing on the edge of something big. And we all know by now, whether you're just starting your business, whether you've been around for a long time, whether you're ready to write a new chapter or a new season in your life, when you're ready to do something and something big, that's when fear will show up in abundance because you're getting ready to have a breakthrough. You're getting ready to make that impact. And an opportunity is just there for you, a decision, a new chapter. And then that's when fear will hit you. And that's where fear will step in. That's where fear will come and try to dare you to go the other way. Fear creeps in when your mind starts racing. You'll start saying to yourself, it's how we talk about ourselves, right? How we talk to ourselves. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I'm not good enough to take on this opportunity? What if I should let this opportunity pass? Why am I even having these ideas? By now you get it. We got to get rid of that negative talk. Fear loves and will just continue to grow in the negative talk that you give yourself. Because it's in that moment that you have the choice. Do you turn away, avoiding the risk, the opportunity, whatever's on the other side of that fear? Or do you step forward knowing that everything you want and everything you've worked for and everything you need to make the impact that you're meant to be is on the other side of that choice? It's on the other side. And here's where the work you've been doing, the thoughts that you have been retraining your brain with, the noise you're trying to remove, and how you talk to yourself, your manifestations and your affirmations, and the deep-rooted belief in yourself that you are now starting to see. This is all the mind shift work you've been working on because your mind shift has shifted and your mindset will help you determine the choice. Some people instantly start a retreat, avoid discomfort at any risk. They don't like confrontation. They're like, you know what? That's my sign. I'm not moving forward. Or, oh, that's all I needed to know. I don't have the confidence to go forward. I think it's a silly idea. I'm just going to, run and retreat. And that's when you'll have the thing that fear is going to stop you, and you'll fall into that. But I want you to know that that's really not a stop sign. Just because you feel something and you're unsure of something, that is not a stop sign. It's the signal that you are getting ready to make a big impact. And there's something that is meant for you, because what is meant for you is yours. And what is meant for you will come to you. And that's what's on the other side of that stop sign. It's not something to stop. It's a signal that, hey, just beyond this, you're getting ready to do what you set out to do. You're getting ready to see results. So know that fear is not a stop sign. It's just a signal that what's coming ahead is big and you deserve it. What separates these two mindsets from those that will retreat and start talking themselves out of it, and those that see that stop sign and go, "Ooh, that's my sign. I know something's coming." What separates those two? My friends, by now you know, it's mindset. So let's break down two ways people respond to fear. They forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how you rewire your mind so that fear no longer will stop you from doing what you're meant to do, and how your mindset can help shift the way that you respond to it. And I'm going to give you 3 powerful strategies to turn fear into fuel so that you can rise up instead of running. So let's talk a little bit about how fear controls you if you let it, and the mindset behind fear. Fear is just wired into our survival instincts. It's designed to keep us safe. And in today's world, it's most likely to keep us stuck, because there's so many people. There's between people and TV and media and just other business owners and just the world in general is telling us you're not capable of doing something. That won't work in today's world. That's not going to work in today's economy. What kind of cockamamie idea is that you think you can make change with that? Why do you think you should even start doing that? Right? That's the noise that's around us. And that will keep us stuck. Mind shift. That fear isn't the enemy, but avoiding that fear is. How your fear will manifest in your daily lives and your business. Fear of failure. Then you'll never start. When you first started your business and wrote down all the wonderful things you were going to do and the impact you were going to make, you were excited and you went for it. Now you might be in that messy middle. And again, friends, that messy middle chapter of your business and your life is usually where the greatest impact is made. Because you've worked past your hurdles. You've worked past your pain points. You kept working, blood, sweat, and tears, and you've got to the middle. And yeah, we call it the messy middle because it's like everything's happening all at once. I don't know if I'm making impact. I don't know if I should stop, move forward. And we're in the messy middle so that we can have that ending or that next level or that next chapter. Because as entrepreneurs, do we really ever end? We're always looking to make bigger impact, make greater impact, and to shift in how we've been doing things. So fear of failure will actually stop you from starting. But you started at one point, friends. Many of you started it 2 times, a second time, a third time, a fourth time. The trick is to never stop, because if you stop and never try, that is failure. If you try and failed, that's a lesson learned, and that was progress. Fear isn't actually the problem, but it's how you respond to it. Fear of judgment. If you're fear of judgment, what other people are going to say, telling you who you should be, how you should do it, then you are just going to keep playing small. And you cannot play small. You can't sit on the sidelines and complain that everybody else is moving forward. You can't sit on the sidelines watching everybody else score a goal. You can't sit on the sidelines and watch everybody score baskets and points and have celebrations. Because if you're not in the game, you'll never have the opportunity for those celebrations. And in sports, there's a winner and there's a loser. And you'll learn just as much from losing as you do from winning. And you need to celebrate those losses as much as you do those wins and those victories. But sitting on the sidelines because of fear of judgment, because of what people think you should be doing, friends, that is on them. That is not on you. That is no reflection of your talent and your gifts and what you know how to do. Let that go. Stop playing small. The brain will default into a survival mode. And isn't going to think about success. It's just going to consistently tell you all the things that you can't do and all the ways that you can fail. If you think about it, how many times do you hear, if I do this, I'll be successful. If I try this, I'll get this result. Because we just don't talk to ourselves that way. And the brain isn't wired to give you a bunch of glory and praise. It wants you to earn it. It wants you to retrain it, right? So naturally, when you're playing small or you have that fear of judgment, it will just pull you to staying on the sidelines and to not trying anything. The fear of uncertainty. When you're uncertain, you'll never take that leap. But again, I remind you, when you first started your business, when you first went into a relationship, when you first started anything, you took the first step, leap of faith, whatever you want to call it. You believed in yourself enough that you went to do it. You might not have left your 9-to-5 right away, but maybe you have now. Or maybe you said, heck with it, I'm leaving my 9-to-5 and I'm going for it. Because at one point, you believed in yourself so much that you threw caution to the wind and you went for it. You need to keep that attitude the entire time you're building a business and the entire time you're living your life. Because you started and you can't be afraid to go backwards. We talk about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. That fixed mindset will just let you sit there and continually say, I'm going to wait. I'm not ready. I can't do this right now. I'll wait for the next moment. And friends, there's never the next moment or the perfect moment. And someday never comes. Someday is not a strategy. What's going on today? What impact can you make for yourself and for others? What are you trying to accomplish? What is it that you want to do? Don't wait for someday. That's that fixed mindset. The growth mindset means I'm stepping out. I'm going to just go for this. I'm going to go out here and try this plan. I'm going to add this service to my business, or I'm going to start another business, or I'm going to reach out certain networking, or maybe I'm going to say yes to that person who's asking me for a date. I'm going to say yes to something I'm fearful of just because I feel I can make an impact, and I know that I'm ready, and I know that I am equipped to handle whatever comes. The good or the bad, I'm ready for it. Your mindset needs to shift to that growth mindset. I'll share a story here of a business owner who almost let fear steal their success. There's the talented designer that I worked with for a while, Rachel, who dreamed of opening her own boutique branding agency. And for years, she had worked at these larger firms. She worked for bigger companies, but it just wasn't fulfilling. And she was watching everybody else, mostly men, of course, land these high-profile clients and get all the accolades and do everything. That were building their own brands, and they were stepping into leadership roles. And she was spending all her extra time. She was there first. She was there when they left. She was working on the weekends. And at the time, she was single, and she wasn't too worried about it because she knew that, okay, this is just the time I have to put in. This is the blood, sweat, and tears. And then it started clicking on her that if she wanted that for herself, she was going to have to make changes. But every time she thought about leaving this stable job, and that was setting up her career and setting up her life, and she did what she was supposed to do, went to college and then got the job. And starting her own business, that fear was starting to creep in a little bit. That fear of, if I don't start taking action, am I worth it? That fear of, I'll never be able to do this on my own. I'll never be able to leave this solid paycheck. Because what if I fail? What if no one hires me? What if I'm the laughing stock? What if I go out and my colleagues and other potential business people laugh at me because I'm not as big as the brand that I left? I'm not as big as the agency that I left. What if I'm simply not good enough? So instead of taking that leap and just doing it after the frustration of working all the extra hours, doing all the extra work, not getting credit for the work that she was doing, she let that fear keep her stuck. And again, she was watching other people take opportunities that she kept telling herself that she wasn't ready for. Every time a new opportunity came up at this agency for a position, a higher level, she didn't go after it because she didn't think she was good enough. She was worried she would fail, and then she would think what the other colleagues would say about her. So she was worried about colleagues in the agency, and then she was worried about colleagues if she left and started her own. She was worried about what others, that judgment she had. That's what had set in. She was watching less talented designers go out there and thrive. New people, new hires, with less education and less experience were getting bigger jobs and taking on bigger roles because she kept telling herself, oh, I'm not worth it. It wasn't meant for me. Friends, what is meant for you is meant for you. And if you keep telling yourself it's not meant for you, There's a difference in saying it's not meant for me and knowing when to wait and be patient and continue learning. The mindset shift is I am ready for whatever's coming for me. When it comes for me, I'm going to be ready to take it. I can handle it. Not the I'm not worthy of it. It must not be meant for me. And all the woes that you tell yourself. There's a difference in the mindset of knowing what is meant for you is coming for you and the mindset of woe's me. I guess I don't deserve that. So she spent years waiting for that right moment. And of course, based on some of the stories that I share here and our philosophy, that moment never came. The moment never came. There's no such thing as a perfect moment. There's no such thing as, well, when the timing is right. The timing is right now. This is your moment. But one day things did change. There was another entrepreneur that was out there, and she had been connected to them. For myself and some other people had made the connection, said, hey, I think you really need to meet Rachel. Rachel, you need to meet these people. Start getting around these people. And she eventually did. And she began to listen to this entrepreneur. Listen to how this entrepreneur that was in the same industry was telling her why she was so good. It's one thing to have your mom and your dad and your brothers, sisters, friends, and even your dog tell you how great you are and that you shouldn't put up with things. It's one thing for me to listen and cheer you on, but I'm definitely coming to you through these podcasts as a motivation, but also to tell you that you are in control of your mindset, that it's everything, and that how you think about yourself and how you perceive yourself is how others perceive you. So start thinking of yourself as most of the people are telling you that you're great, that you're fabulous, that you're worth it, that you can make it. Start listening when these people that you respect start telling you that. So she started hanging around as a group. She started going out networking with them. And she began to really share why she'd never step on her own. And they talked about how most of them said, oh my gosh, we were there. We were the same way, only we couldn't take it anymore. And we decided if we're going to make a change, the change had to be us. And they started sharing, I had fear. And she was taken back like, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. I thought I would stay in this agency. 2 of the people in this group used to be at this agency before Rachel even worked there, and they couldn't work there anymore. They were there enough to learn some things, get some things under their belt, and they left. And they all admitted how they felt unqualified, unsure, and terrified. But they did it anyway. That they went and started their own companies. And a couple of them have become 9-figure brands. And when Rachel heard that, it just hit differently. She realized that the only difference between them wasn't skill or luck, it was their willingness to despite fear. And friends, that is what I want you to do. It isn't about how good you are at something, or how lucky you are, or the door open for you. Make that door open. Tell yourself that you're ready to knock on that door, and if it doesn't open, you're going to go around the back and get in anyway, right? Open a window. Do something. You have to despite fear. And then you have to make a choice. Rachel did make a choice. Instead of running from fear, she leaned into it. She started her own branding agency with one small client that led to another. And Rachel realized she didn't need to be a multi-million-dollar agency. She was happier actually being able to work with the kind of clients that she wanted, that had the same beliefs that she had, that had the same values. And throughout that time, she began to grow her business and begin to make significant income, where she then could do more, make an impact. She started her own little nonprofit, a small group. She gave back to the community. She gave back to other women who wanted to start agencies as well. She no longer wondered what if, because she was living it. She had full creative freedom over the clients that she wanted to do and the kind of work. What she missed out on before of facing fear, what she missed out on because she was facing fear, was years of business growth that she could have had sooner. Financial freedom that could have come sooner. Creative ownership over her own work. Being proud of something and having her name on it. Seeing herself credited for it. And knowing that what she designed made a difference for that client's life. Not the company she worked for. The company didn't care enough about the clients, but she did. And think about it. That's how you are in your business. Nobody's going to care enough about the success of your business besides you. So get a team around you, get a team of people that are like-minded where you can all grow together. And that's when you see your team members and you listen to your team members and you remind them that the value they bring is immeasurable, that you could not succeed without them. Give them the opportunities so they can succeed, so that you can succeed together. Stop being so fearful of what might happen. Find that client you want to work with. Find that company you want to partner with. Find a charity you want to support and organize with. And when you're doing it on your own, despite fear, the rewards are absolutely phenomenal, my friends. Some key takeaways for you. The difference between people who stay stuck and people who rise is how they interpret that fear. You either let it shrink you or you let it expand you. That's your choice. I'll say that again. You either let this fear shrink you or you let it expand you. But the choice is yours. I want you to reframe fear, how your mindset shifts fear into growth. Your mindset shift is proof of growth. Fear is proof of growth. Secret successful people, they don't eliminate fear. They train themselves to see it differently. Mindfulness in fear. Instead of resisting fear, sit with it, acknowledge it, and ask, what is this trying to teach me? What am I so afraid of? Just sit with it. Sometimes when you sit in quiet and stop trying to go at something, the answers will come to you. So if you're fearful, just sit for a little while and continually ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Then I want you to really start saying, what if I fail? And I want you to turn that into, what if I learn? So I want you to really say, when you're sitting there saying, what if I fail? What if I fail? I want you to stop, rephrase that to, what if I learn? What if I learn? Here's the impact. What if I learn? I can help this. What if I learn? I will help other business owners solve this problem. What if I learn? What if I learn? Fear's always going to be there, my friend. The goal is to eliminate it. The goal is to learn how to walk with it and then use it. Powerful mindset and action strategies that I want you to face fear and rise, even when it feels impossible. And the best way to change your relationship with fear is with mindset and action. What is the worst that can happen? I want you to really write this down. Your brain will exaggerate fear. Your brain will tell you it's bigger and worse than what it is. So I want you to write down the absolute worst case scenario. Then I want you to write the solution. 90% of the time, you'll realize you'll be fine. Can you do that? I want you to write down the absolute worst case scenario and then write the solution. Because your brain will think fear is bigger. And the more you keep telling yourself, the more you keep talking negative, the more noise you give you, the more exaggerated that fear gets. So write down the worst scenario and then write down the solution. Mindset, reframe, and the what's the worst that can happen strategy. This is a strategy, my friends. When fear exaggerates the reality, instead of letting the worst case scenarios control you, write it down. Just write them down. We used to do pros and cons lists all the time. Do this. What's the worst that can happen? And what's the best that can happen? And what's the best possible outcome, right? Every time fear hits you, ask yourself, what is the worst possible outcome? And then write that solution. What's the worst possible outcome? Then write the solution. Mindset shift. Fear will shrink when you create a plan. So when you write this down and you start with this strategy of what's the worst that can happen strategy, when you write down the absolute worst case scenario and solution, 90% of the time, I said it earlier, 90% of the time, you're going to realize that you can overcome this fear, that you are going to be just fine, and that you can move forward. When you write these things down and you see them and you repeat them back to yourself, it helps you reshift and reframe how you're talking to yourself. The 5-second rule. Act before fear takes over. We all know about Mel Robbins now, and she teaches this one. If fear starts creeping in, count down from 5. Then take immediate action, because the action will kill that fear. So the next time you're thinking about saying yes to an opportunity and you're scared about it, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then take action. You'll either know a yes or you'll know a no, because the action will kill the fear. Your brain will talk you out of things if you wait too long. You all know that. If we sit and think, if we say we got to think about it for a minute, if we wait longer than a minute or two, we're going to talk ourselves out of it. Because it's like everything else. If you think you can't, you won't. If you think you can, you will. Right? So you have to take action. So don't wait too long and think things over too much. If something scares you, do that countdown 5. Then take immediate action. Remember to turn what if I fail into what if I learn. Because again, the fear will trick us into thinking that failure is final. But when we say, if I fail, what will I gain from the experience? Just changing the way we talk to ourselves about fear, the way we're looking at fear. Most people will stay stuck because they see that failure as permanent. And most small business owners like you listeners here, you at one point had fear and you're going to have it again, but you have moved on. You are doing good work. You are doing good things. You are using your talents to your best of your ability, and you are falling into your highest potential. And you're on this journey to become the best version of yourself. And you're doing it. And you're doing it in spite of fear. Fear of failure, fear of discomfort. But discomfort is where growth happens. You know this. When you get scared and anxious, something's happening. And that is a fabulous thing. Someone who faces rejection but uses it as feedback and pivot and succeed. If somebody says they didn't get what you're saying, if somebody says I didn't like the new service you implemented, if somebody says I wasn't happy with this service you provided, get the feedback. It's not failure. It's that didn't work for that client at that moment. What was it that you could have shifted? Maybe it wasn't the right product or service for that client. What did you learn from that? Not a failure, but a lesson learned. Fear loses its grip when you turn it into action. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. And once you train your mind to use fear as a signal for growth instead of a stop sign, you will become unstoppable. My friends, that's what I want to leave you with today. Know that you are greater than your fear, the impact you're here to make, the gifts that you're here to use, and how you're going to serve your clients, yourself, and your family, and your communities. It's all right there for you. Just keep moving forward. Do not let fear hold you back. Do not think of fear as something you need to run from. I want you to face everything and rise. Think about that. FEAR. Face everything and rise. Don't forget to jump on the newsletter. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter, where every week I bring you, based on the Fabulous Pillars, I bring you action. I bring you motivation. I bring you little workbooks. I bring you little worksheets. Every single Wednesday, it pops into your inbox. Eventually, I'll start having it come to your earbuds too. But right now, it's coming into your inbox. So make sure there's a link in the show notes to sign up for that. Then, of course, subscribe here to the podcast. And if you feel I'm bringing you some value, do me a favor, share the podcast with others. Share the newsletter with others, because that is how I'm growing. I've overcome my fear of asking for people to help shout about me. I used to just sit back and think things were going to happen. And like you, spending time on ads and all those things, I just rather come right to you and say, if this podcast and what I'm doing here at BeFabo is bringing value to you, please share. Motivated to be Fabo. I've got resources. I've got ebooks. I've got a book coming out. But just share the podcast and share the newsletter. And let's continue to build this amazing community of go-getters, of people, entrepreneurs, and like-minded, heart-led leaders, so we can continue to grow and make all small business industries even better, and we can all be on this journey of becoming the best version of ourselves together. My friends, remember that you are Fabo, exactly who you are and exactly where you are. Can't wait to come into your buds next week. Till then, stay safe, be Fabo, and keep believing that you are meant for everything that is coming for you. Till next time, friends.